They're going to be, really bad. I'm like, they were. Condition is our number 3. That's our 3rd tier. Like, Rudy's traveling vacation, getting people to come to Mountain View. He's like, well, they didn't say anything about price. No, but they said a lot about condition. So condition is what's going to make that change.
Yeah. What kind of financing do you have for it?
He did an appraisal on it. Is the reason why we're worked at that purchase price or the asking price. Sorry, and it approved for FHA and VA.
Nice.
So I'm like, as long as we got those 2, we should be okay.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that is like a perfect place for investment, just strictly investment.
I had one person come to the open house this weekend. He was a little old man, and he was a little overwhelmed with all the space and.
That's funny.
Oh, interesting how people will grab them.
I'm trying to grab some sweets.
Okay.
What's hot in here?
No, that's you, honey.
Oh, no, it's hot.
I'm usually hot, and it doesn't feel hot to me today. In here anyway. I was frying earlier.
I go to my parents' house like once a day, and Barb has that HUD home duplex, or has a duplex that's on the HUD, whatever, foreclosure duplex. They get more showings. I always see like multiple cars in that area. But then there was one truck that I think that's just a neighbor.
Because it's foreclosure.
Yeah. But
People are looking for that investment. Being foreclosure, they think deal.
It's not far off
And
of
it's not going to
market
be.
value. It's not far off of what it's.
Oh my God,
No
girl.
way. It's not far off of.
Make me fat.
Hey, 10 minutes, they're gonna, you want one, Karen?
Yeah, I got
You know
it.
what? Trying to decide what one's
I
what.
got that one.
I'm assuming one's more chocolate than the
Oh,
other.
chocolatey
I think
swirls.
that one might be vanilla.
Where'd you read that?
Chocolatey, vanilla and with chocolatey swirls.
Oh my God, I'm looking all at this wording and I'm like, where is it? It's the biggest words on there.
I don't want these to
Chocolate
fall
with
out.
chocolatey
It's 10 more
swirls.
minutes.
Nope. I like my vanilla ice cream with stuff. If I'm having chocolate ice cream, I don't like much with it.
Here's an updated condo list, management company.
Oh, thank you.
Yay!
Oh, always need
I'm
that.
always looking for that stuff too.
And
I usually figure it out fairly quickly, but
Well, I'll work on it.
I usually do if I can't figure it out. I always say in real estate, if you just know your resources, you're good to go. Don't act like you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Just know who you need to go to.
Are those ice creams hard? Should I go put these back in the freezer for another 10 minutes or are they all right?
I think they're good. They have that little icicle thing showing. I think they're.
Ah! I'm scared to rip too hard. I ripped the ice cream going out.
Oh, so it's at 1:30. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, oops.
Just came down to get lunch. I'm gonna have dessert first. I'm just gonna roll it down. It's not working.
So, is it true?
Are you looking for in the trenches? That's us.
Come on in. What do we got?
It's us.
For a duplex purchase,
Yes.
do you have to have reserves on a duplex? Or is it only on a tri FHA?
I don't think so on the duplex.
Oh, okay, good. So we were kind of like, is that, I don't know.
How are
This
you?
doesn't sound right, but I guess it is right.
I'm with Homestake Mortgage.
Well, duplex
Are you a
reserves
broker?
has to do with,
Sweet. Yeah.
are you talking about on the loan itself
Well, welcome.
or reserves in like an HOA?
Just getting here.
No reserves on the loan.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, well, I was.
always.
That's what I thought.
Any
Well, I'm
loan,
just getting
Oh.
here, that's why. Yes, yes, absolutely.
I would
Yeah.
assume.
Brand new, just started.
I've never,
Today's my daughter's first day daycare, so. Just
never known of one not to have it. Every bank must
glad
have
to have you.
security.
Brandy, do you know Carla?
Hi,
Carla?
hi, Carla Stefan.
Brandy and
You
Karen.
too.
Nice to meet you.
So are you new to selling real estate or just new to our company?
No, completely new brand.
Woohoo!
Are
You're in the
on
right
your
place.
own?
Yes, I am.
Would you like a drumstick?
Sure, I think so.
They're
Yeah.
small. They're the little
Yeah,
ones.
the very little ones.
Thank you.
I'm gonna put this back in your box.
5 more minutes, I think they should be okay.
Yeah.
If not. Yeah, Karen, I'll double check for you on that.
Okay. And it's because they were telling my client, because she wants a fourplex, but they're like, well, you have to have reserves, whatever. And then we were like, well, can I still get a multifamily? And then we asked the lender, and the lender's like, she doesn't need reserves on a duplex.
So I'm hearing there's different kind of reserves, not necessarily, it's the reserves that she would have to have cash in her own bank.
In her own bank.
Or
For loan approval.
401k or an IRA.
Okay.
Correct.
Or
I was assuming
liquidable stocks.
an escrow account in reference to the loan when she said reserves, that's where my mind went. So I was asking the questions, but yeah. They need to have cash on hand for vacancies, repairs, et cetera.
And let's just find out. We'll just send Donna a note.
Mhm.
Randy, anytime you have any financing questions, we're right next door. They can come in anytime. We can have mortgage 101.
Holy crap.
You probably won't, I can sit and talk to you all day long. I don't go, until you start applying it.
Right.
Those questions will all start coming in. What did you do in your previous life? Your real life? Is that
I've been home for the last 3 years.
Oh, good. With your daughter?
Yep.
How old is she?
2.5.
Oh.
Yeah. I work at night, service industry for years. I have 2 teenagers.
Well, you talk teenagers and a 2.5-year-old. Yeah.
Wow.
How's that
I'm
going?
like, it's good. It's definitely different, but it's nice. It's really nice, and I really enjoy being home with her. I don't want to leave her, so she's probably doing fine. I'm not all day today, but I'm excited to just, do
This is
something
probably
different.
hard for you, isn't
It
it?
is. It's really hard.
Emotional, I would think.
Uh-huh. I'm like, yeah. After this is done, I'll take her. But,
Oh, that's funny.
but she's having a good time. She's sending me pictures of her.
Oh.
So
I got a nice paper on the back one.
I'm excited.
Must have been leftover or something.
She's old, like, she's
Two others in here. So
so
weird.
You picked a good company. We're a good family here.
So a good idea to like scan in and have it as a
Is that-
PDF and color versus.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like on the Excel
Fine.
sheet. It's like,
He's your boyfriend.
I'd be always good friends with my boyfriend. Yeah, no, definitely not my boyfriend.
Yeah, so what?
I know who Hutton was talking to a lot at the gala.
Hutton was talking to her a lot at the gala?
No.
Oh,
I'm saying I know who he was talking a lot to.
Oh, we
at
were
the
talking about Luke, but
gala.
Hutton,
who was he talking to a lot? Oh,
Hutton,
really?
Hutton was,
The other day I
but
went by
he's
there,
just so
and there were like 3
conversational
guys
with-
standing outside her office. It was so cute.
he's nice.
you know the couple that I saw at the gala that kind of surprised me was Sean Finelli.
Oh, they're just a couple now,
Are they?
just recently,
Okay.
like.
Yeah.
That
I was like-
a couple days before the gala.
Okay. 'Cause I was like,
I think
hey.
that's a good fit.
I do too.
well, he
I
looked like
really
he
do.
They
had a lot
are
more life to him
so
and energy. And stuff.
happy. They
Mhm.
were so
That's awesome.
giddy.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I was like, I don't ever see Sean getting it down on the dance floor.
I went up to Lee, and I really didn't think that she wouldn't be there.
Mm-mm.
That didn't enter my mind because she's has been here. And
Right. And then
And
she shows
so-
up and you're like, oh, wait a minute, what?
then I said, well,
I did
she
that
goes-
too.
I said, maybe who are you here with? I am. Good. And she said, well, Shauna, oh, are you guys together? Are you know,
Dating?
And they said, well, yes, just very recently, like right now, or something.
Oh, wow. That's
They-
awesome.
They were,
Life is too short not to be happy.
Yeah.
right.
Are we live yet?
It looks like it.
That's funny.
And
Yes.
do I have no questions? Amy?
She went radio silent on me yesterday after we got the counter offer.
Oh
So
my
we
gosh,
wrote
I hope you're not
we
live.
wrote an offer with no financing, no earnest money, just because I had contacted them and said, hey, my buyers are just going to have our stuff together. Let me know if you get. I went and snuck by there because it's completely behind the street I live on.
Mike's on.
And saw on Saturday that they had like 3 different cars coming through there. So watching it pretty closely, they called me and let me know that.
Write down on a piece of paper what you
Respond
said.
to by 1 p.m. on Monday. So I said, hey, Amy,
All right,
I
what's
want
it
to
good?
do, we can write an offer just to get our foot in the door. So she said, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And so we did that. Didn't really think we'd get countered. They countered almost immediately yesterday. And so I sent her the counter and said, hey, we've got some time.
We have a new person
They
here
wanna
today.
know
Her
by
name
5 p.m.
is-
today what we're gonna do. But I think that if they haven't accepted
But-
the offer, nothing's pending, we can let that expire, that response
There we
time.
go, here we go,
That gives her
here we
time
go.
to get her financing in place, we can write another offer, because now we know what they countered.
Jeez, Amanda.
Yeah. So,
Why isn't it all stapled together?
so I've let Amy know, like, we're
Let me tell you about
we're in a
that.
position right now. We can respond to this and get it in contract. They know that we're seeking out our financing, and that, of course. Or we can just expire, we know what their counter is, so we know what they're gonna accept.
I got it.
Well, I have a appointment with her at 5 today, and I don't know.
I
She
just
knows
tried
where
calling her
I'm
at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I know what that means.
I sent her a couple of
I know what
texts
that
this morning
means.
after calling her yesterday, and I just said, hey, look, we've got a lot of options. I'm willing to do whatever you want. You don't have to, be afraid or anything. We're in a very strong position. We can come back with this after you talk to Kelly. That's what I recommend.
So Kathy's out there. She gets a here. Oh, I can't.
She does too. She does too. I would love a drumstick. That would be nice. Thank you.
So what are you giving out?
But she's,
Billy,
No, thank you.
no drumstick for you?
You're being good.
Amanda, you want a drumstick?
Tired of this crap. If I didn't know, I will be so proud of myself tonight.
Carl, want a drumstick?
I surely do.
Is that ice cream, Kelly?
Yes.
Is that ice cream?
Baby ice cream.
Where have you been keeping it?
Want one?
No, thanks.
Outside on the window ledge.
Yeah, you could, actually.
oh, sorry. That's up. I have the packet from last year, the showing time, or it's show time.
Right?
That's funny.
See how it
It
compares.
was one of my first ones.
Yep, updated. Nice. Oh, you got the dialogue written right in there. That's-
Aaron actually has the packet from last year showed it that.
If we want to compare.
Showtime.
Oh, really? You captured her? Gosh, you're gonna keep me honest. Make sure what I said today, I said last year.
Right.
So, hi, it's good to see some new faces here. Hi, you.
Brandy.
Brandy, hi Brandy, are you a realtor?
Brandy.
Brand new.
Awesome.
Brand spanking new.
So, where did you work before?
I've been at home.
Oh, you worked at home, you
No,
worked
I
hard at
haven't
home.
been, yet. The baby.
Yes.
Okay, and
Hard
how old
work.
are your children now?
She's 2.5, the one I've been home. And then I have 2 teenagers.
Good for you. So who looks after your 2.5? Because real estate's time consuming.
Today is her first day of daycare.
Oh my gosh, well, look at you. So did you interview other real estate companies?
I did, Keller Williams, actually.
Okay, and you made the right decision, of course.
I figured, after the sales meeting this morning, I figured that.
Yeah.
Tell me, what did I miss? What did I miss?
Gabe was
MLS.
usually very political, not mentioning names.
You just use initials, right?
Right.
KW.
Just about the coming soon listings and MLS's decision to,
He's not happy about that, I'll bet. is he?
No, but they put great rules on it. Like if you have like a non-MLS listing, and you don't sell it, you can't bring it on the market on MLS for 6 months.
6 months. I love that. Dang, I love that.
And then when it's in the coming soon, you can't have showings of anything. So if it magically goes from coming soon to pending, a little bit obvious.
Well.
During all that this morning.
Amanda, we have
Say
some pretty new
Sorry?
faces here. Even the guys' faces
saw
are
that.
pretty, so let's get some new names. So I assume you're going to be joining us hopefully every Tuesday?
Yes, I'm gonna try.
Okay, we'd like that. And what we're going to do is get you on a team.
And
And
if it's team 1 or team 3.
why is that?
Because
I don't trust you. Why
team
is
2 has 5 people in it, and team 1 and 3 have 3 on it.
We haven't gotten
Five people on one
anybody
team.
for an awful long
Last
time.
week, both people picked members that lived in the team 2.
Terry was supposed to be on team one.
Team three is the best.
Terry was supposed to be on team one.
Right,
Terry Ellis? No, they were both ended up on team 2.
Well, that shouldn't have happened, so let's fix that. Put Terry on one, please.
Okay.
Okay. I get to make all the rules.
team three is the best. team.
And so
Right,
Brandy's,
Kelly?
Brandy's on team 3 now?
Well, yeah, it looks that way. Yes, Brandy, let's put you on team 3. And the thing about being on a team, we're not going to make you the captain right away, so you're good there. But it helps you with the little baby steps of how to make a commission dollar more quickly. You get points for wearing a name tag, so be sure you get one quickly.
I have one.
You get points for doing open houses. You get a whole bunch of points if you go to a closing and if you're actually going to get a commission check, you get a whole bunch of points for that. And we have other folks here too. Let's get everybody else signed up.
Karen, are you on the team?
I'm not, but
Let's get you on a team, Karen. We love it when you
I guess I
come.
could force my yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean, force yourself?
Don't you just
No,
love seeing
because
us so
sometimes
much?
sometimes people take my time away. I'd love to be here, but I'll force myself to tell them no. How's that?
I love that, Karen.
I love it when you tell people no.
I do too.
Okay, so now team 3's out, so they can have team 3.
Okay, Karen, think of a number quick between 1 and 12.
3.
She goes on 1. Karen, you're on team 1.
Okay.
And
Carla, you on the team? Yeah.
Carla's on team 2.
Carla's already on it.
Yeah, and Abraham, I have to make an announcement to you, Abraham.
Yes, ma'am.
You're a team captain. You knew that, of course, right?
Yes.
I'm doing my homework.
So I just need to
All right,
Oh, I
so
know.
let's
I
get
like
started.
sprinkling
Let's
it to
first of
see
all
it.
see how the teams are doing. Terry needs a package, Amanda, please.
Yeah, spread out too.
There were extras.
I can't consolidate all that stuff.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, so Carl's going to talk to you about how the teams are going. By the way, let me just say something, because I know you have no clue who this person is that's standing up here yelling at everybody. I have been with Jack White Real Estate. I had a client tell me this, because even the client knew more about it than I did. I've been with Jack White Real Estate for 28 years. This client said he hadn't hired Carl and I yet. And he was interviewing us, and he said, so how long have you been with Jack White Real Estate, Kathy? I said, about 20 years. He said, 28. I said, how do you know that? He said, I was checking you out. So these people check us out. Anyway, I've been with Jack White for 28 years, and I've been selling real estate for 42 years. So I have a few tricks up my sleeve, and Jack White allows me to have these trenches presentations every Tuesday at 1:30. And so our challenge is in 52 weeks of the year, we have to find 52 things to talk about. So especially as a new licensee or anybody else, if there's a subject matter you want to put on the table for all of us to talk about so to help you be a better realtor, let me know. In fact, Amanda's the reason we're doing this one today. She's the reason we're doing this one. Before we jump there, let's see how the teams are doing. Carl.
The teams are doing all right. A bit of a shakeup now. Team 1 is trailing in
Who's the
third
captain
place.
there?
It's Captain Aaron Asbury.
Oh, our
Right-
poster child.
Sorry, guys. Let me down. We're trailing.
Well, we got to get Zach and Terry to throw their points down there, and then we'll be representing a little better. But we're at 115.
I just put in 2 weeks worth of points, so we should be catching up.
You the man.
Yeah,
Terry,
it's
you're
falling
actually
behind.
on team 1, not team 2.
Oh, yeah,
We
you're,
moved you.
we moved you to team 1.
I mean, Team 3 is in second place with 144 points. New addition Karen. Captain Abraham needs to turn in his points.
That's team 3. We're team
What?
2.
Well, you're Team 3, but you're in second place with 144 points.
I put Karen on team 1.
My team 1, team.
Karen, I'm sorry, is Karen on Team 1?
Team 1,
Yes.
okay.
My bad, that's on me.
Did we decide that Brandy was on team 3?
New addition Brandy on Team 3.
So confusing. How do we sell real estate if we can't even figure this out?
Because I'm really good at real estate. I'm really bad at numbers.
You're doing great.
Team 2, holding it down. Captain Amanda, it's been at 135 points, 110 business cards.
Good, Amanda.
Yep, yep. And then, Billy's there, 69 points. Been showing a lot of clients. Showed 10 clients since this session began at the beginning of the year.
Outstanding. Any questions about how we're doing what we're doing? Anybody?
Show clients, is that
I just started doing
for
last
showing or just for clients?
It would be one client on Tuesday showing them properties. If you show the same clients on Wednesday, that's 2. Or if it's,
So same client,
properties?
it counts per day. If it's more than one client in a day, it
Okay.
counts as multiple shows.
What?
Oh, so it
So
only
you
counts
you
for
can't
one.
show one client 5 houses and be like,
and get 5 points.
So just
for that. You
one
don't
per
get 5
day.
points.
Okay, got it.
All right. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, any success stories, please? Besides you coming on board. Oh, so you interviewed and you chose Jack White. Can you give us some reasons why, so we stay here?
I was actually gonna join the team there, and
Oh my gosh, good
yeah,
for you.
My boyfriend's a trailer, he has his own business, and he was really after that contract list, and I got a feeling this time about him pushing me every time I saw him. And the team.
Is he history now too? Boyfriend, is he history?
No. We
So
just-
the team leader was pushing her
For
for.
my boyfriend's contract
Oh,
list.
no.
And wanting right away to have that, and there was stuff in there, once I shared that stuff with the team, that it was theirs, and I just felt so comfortable, so I decided the last minute to check out other places. And, Teresa was like, oh my gosh, no, you can't do that, you have to be a single agent, just based on his contacts and all that. She said that just with the plans that we have, we're gonna sell this home.
I would never do
We
it.
live in right now. I already have like a listing.
Right, don't ever
Do you
join
already
the
have a
team.
listing? Well, we're gonna sell the house that we live in,
Nice.
and so that's really my first listing, that's gonna be also very difficult. I think.
Very good,
It's just expensive.
Exciting.
very good.
But I don't know.
We're glad you're
It'd be
here.
worth it.
Any other success stories? Anybody? Okay, all right.
Not a very successful.
Any field problems that we can fix here?
That's why we're here.
All right, then we will launch into It's Showtime, the successful open house. And for those of you who know me, Billy, and Carl, we are all basically theater people. Which one, Amanda? Sure. We're all basically theater people in one fashion or another. Billy and Carl are very successful actors, known actors in the community, and I run a board, and I have children who are bad actors. No, they're good actors. They're very good actors.
yeah, take one of those kind of.
So I allude a lot of things to theatrical stuff, and besides, it's fun. So how many people here do open houses? Raise your hand super high. Everybody does an open house.
I will.
Okay,
yeah.
put your hand down. Everybody here who loves doing open houses, raise your right hand. You love doing open house. Notice I didn't raise my hand. Okay. All right. No, I don't love doing open houses, but they work. I will be nice. I was going to say the bad word. They work.
Kathy doesn't curse, by the way.
I do not curse. But it was so appropriate at that moment, I almost did it.
I think I heard you one time.
I think you did.
Did you say it when we were talking about Vince building the shed?
Oh, that too.
Her daughter said that she started cursing once I came on the team.
You're a bad influence, Billy.
That's true.
My experience with Kathy is she never kisses because she always wins on the tennis court and doubles. You and Laurel.
And that's from a long time
She
ago.
and I.
But anyway, open houses do work. I don't love doing them, but they work. You just have to know how to work them. So the reason we're doing this today, and we usually do this class maybe once every 6 months anyway, is because Amanda, who actually is a very good salesperson. Amanda's a natural salesperson because she's fearless and she is focused and she knows her job is to sell a house in this particular case. She was the top salesperson at Men's Warehouse until we snatched her away. So it's not like she doesn't know how to sell. But why don't you tell me what you said to me on the phone and then we'll fix that problem.
Well, I was too fearless. I went straight in with.
Well, you have to set this, they don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So people came to the open house. Let's start
So
with
I'm
that.
up at Byron. This is a $600,000 listing, and I've done an open house the prior week, and everything went fine. I actually got a lot of really nice clients out of it. So I go back this weekend, and
Same house.
same house, and this couple comes in, and I kind of started off, telling them about the home. We've got 4,200 square feet here with, 1,700 square foot unfinished basement, blah, 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 they're meandering in. And then I start asking them questions, what's your name, blah, 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 all that good stuff. I need to know if I should give them a disclosure package and a mortgage brochure. So I asked, are you going to be paying cash or creating a new loan for your next home purchase? And I got myself a new grip. I essentially got told to shut up, be quiet, and just let us look. And if we have questions, we'll let you know. And I was shell shocked because I have never had a response like this ever at any of my open houses ever. I've had unpleasant people, but I have never had that happen. I was flabbergasted. I was blown away. I was like, you just what? And so I sat quietly for the rest of the, while they were there walking around, didn't do for them, didn't mess with them. But they were very rude. When he walked off, he looks over to his wife, laughs, and goes, I don't know, are we going to be paying cash or creating a new loan? And laughs loudly. And there's one other group of clients in the house at this point, so I can't really do a whole lot without jeopardizing them as well. And so afterwards, I called Kathy so we could have a learning moment because I was like, what did I do wrong there?
Who thinks they know what Amanda did wrong?
I know now, but
Who thinks they know what she did wrong?
Not kick him out.
I wanted to, but I didn't know the procedure on that, so I just let him look.
I just think she asked way too many questions and
No, she didn't ask any questions is the problem. She started just
Yeah,
talking.
it didn't warm them up.
She didn't, she felt the need. She was back at Men's Warehouse. She was trying to sell a suit, and I'm being facetious, but she felt the need to just blab on about the house, and she didn't even know if they were sellers or buyers or even the homeowners. For all she knew, they might be the homeowners. But what she basically did wrong, and she's a good salesperson, is she was overselling. Okay, and that's the whole point of what we're doing here today. So look at this document, look at this paper here. We're going to walk through this and talk about it. So these are, remember, I call them Kathyisms. Remember 2 Kathyisms at the very top. Number 1, the person asking questions is in charge. Amanda did not ask any questions other than what's your name. So the person asking questions is in charge. Now, I submit you must ask their name, but timing is everything. You don't say, hey, come on in, what's your name, right? We don't do that. And number 2, the person with the clipboard is in charge. How many people who've taken classes from me still think that you should let people sign themselves in? How many people, raise your hand, confess if you think they should sign themselves in? No.
I push a little.
I walk them through it because I have an iPad.
Okay, that's a
She's
little
the one
different.
that-
You don't use paper then.
Right. She's the one that turned us onto that Open
I
Home
know.
Pro app.
So you kind of help them sign themselves in on your little iPad.
There with them so that if they have questions, I try to keep my sign-in super simple. Did you see it off the sign? Do you have a house for sale?
So you're asking good questions.
Those are the questions on it, so it's not so in your face. And they can answer if they want to. Then I can gauge their comfort level to be able to have a conversation.
In your package is our customized open house guest list. And I think Jack White has one. In fact, I think Jack White stole mine a long time ago, and now we branded ours. But in our guest list, and by the way, like I said, we do not let people sign themselves in. For one thing, you've lost control. You're not the guy they want to help them buy a $600,000 home. If you can't control having them sign in, how are you going to be able to control getting them, taking good care of them and getting them a $600,000 house? It's like getting the ball over the goal line if you're the quarterback. So what's important to us is and we'll go through a dialogue here, but I sign these people in. I try to get an address. More important, I want their phone numbers, and equally as important, I want an email address. I also want to know if they got an AREC. In all of our open house kits, we have an AREC. So when they walk out the door, even though they don't have to sign an AREC at the open house, am I right, people? They do not have to sign an AREC at your open house. But if they want to look at the house down the block, if you're fortunate enough that they're going to ask you, by the way, when are you through with your open house? There's another one around the corner. Could you show us that one? You've got an AREC already in the package you gave them. Absolutely, I can show you that house. I'm glad that you've asked. Now, there's an AREC. You don't say it that way. There's an Alaska Real Estate Commission consumer pamphlet. Document in your pack, in the kit I gave you, Mr. and Mrs. Prospective Buyer. You'll need to authorize that before I can open the house up. So keep an AREC in the kit. Get people familiar with it. I also make a note in my open house that they ended up with a package. Not everybody that comes to my open house is going to get a package from us because they don't want one. Or maybe they're working with another realtor and you're not going to interfere with that. I like to know what time they came in. I like to know what brought them in the door. Why do I want to know where they came from? Anybody? You learn a lot by knowing how they found you. And we'll go there in just a minute. And the last notch on this thing says buy, B-U-Y. We'll talk about that in a minute as well, but why do I put that there?
Do they want to buy? How did they answer your question?
Did I ask them to buy? If you don't ask everybody who walks through your open house to buy, even if they tell you to be quiet. Amanda might have said, I'm sorry I offended you today. You're obviously having a bad day, but Mr. and Mrs. Prospective Buyer, would you like to buy this house today?
No, in fact.
What's
I'm gonna
wrong with
murder you
that?
right here.
What's wrong with doing that? Her feelings were already hurt. They were already rude to her. If she'd done one more thing and asked them to buy,
Couldn't have gotten
they either
worse.
would have paid it or more, or they would have blown away and impressed. And she wasn't bleeding then, she wasn't eating.
You don't like a
Yeah, I should have asked them to buy. Listen, you unpleasant people, do you want to buy this house? Okay, so this goes on our clipboard. We do not like people sign themselves in. We sign them in. So here we go. Back to this guy. You've been through my Kathyisms. Powerful dialogue. Here's what Amanda basically did wrong. Like Billy said, she didn't really warm them up. She started selling the house.
As soon as you said that, Kathy, I was like, yeah, you're so right.
Well, I've heard it a few times. Okay, number one, here's what we do. Thank you for coming to my open house today. So how did you find me today? Was it the signs? Was it Alaska Dispatch News? Was it Zillow, Trulio, or Realtor.com? Isn't that a harmless question to ask people?
And they always answer it.
And they will always answer it. Yeah, exactly, Vivian. Thank you. It's not asking them to buy. It's not asking them to make a commitment to you. It's asking a harmless question. And if you're asking questions and they're giving you answers, you are eventually going to be able to ask them to buy the home. And hopefully they're going to say yes, no, or maybe. That's what you're after. You're after a relationship with these people. So why do you ask this question? Those are the reasons you ask the question. It's harmless, you're in control, and it helps you learn about them as a buyer. Number two, if they came in from the signs, what do you know about them if they came in from the signs? Anybody? What was that? Okay, that's
They
one.
weren't necessarily planning on stopping by your particular house today.
That's also true. There's more here though to this
They'll
question.
probably meet close by.
That is certainly possible. Okay, fair enough. Not what I'm after.
Signs were effective.
Not what I'm after. That, wait, you do want to know that your signs are effective, but that's not exactly what I'm after.
I would think that they'd be more willing to buy than anybody else.
Why?
Because they're driving around, they're actually engaging. They actually have a goal.
They're taking the time to do something.
Yeah, there you go.
That's still not what I'm after. What I'm after is that they probably don't know the price. They came in from the signs, they probably don't know the price. So I'll say, oh, you came in from the signs, I'll bet you probably don't know the price of this home, do you? Would you like to know? Turn everything into a question. No, what price range home were you looking for? Now it gives me a window to ask them what price range home. Well, we were hoping to buy about 300 and under. Oh, I'm so sorry, this one is 600,000, but there's a lot of 300,000 and under homes I'd be happy to make you aware of. Would that interest you? Close, always be closing. Okay, so if they came into the signs, what you know is they probably don't know the price. If they came in from advertising, what do you know?
They already look at the house and they know what they're expecting.
They're most likely in the market.
Fair enough.
It's
Go
about the
deeper.
condition.
What
Go
something
deeper.
in the house is what they're looking for.
Yeah, so something attracted them to do that.
And it might be the price.
Right.
All about the price. It might be the price. So if they come to a $600,000 home and they caught it from the advertising, they're probably in a $600,000 range. Right? Okay, that's good to know. Good stuff to know. Number 4. Now, this is where I basically stop asking questions. And body language in an open house for you is important. Get off your cell phone and don't sit down. When people come in the open house, be courteous, get off your phone and stand up to greet them. If they're tiny little people and I'm tall, I try to minimize my height. I might lean on the counter a little bit, so I'm down more at their level. Definitely never get in their space. Never, hi, I'm so-and-so, welcome to my open house. No. Stay out of their space, stand back, give them some breathing room, and don't smother them. Feel free to look around. I'll be here to answer your questions, and this is important, to get you logged in. How can you get back in touch with them if you don't know who they are? Did I allow themselves to sign themselves in? What's the answer?
No.
No, please don't let people sign in. And why not? You lose control. You not only lose control, but you can't read it. You don't know what the email address is, if they even are willing to give you one, and they might even be putting a fictitious name there. Or they won't fill it, they won't give you a phone number, so you've wasted your time. In a $600,000 home, if you're on the selling side of it, your commission is roughly going to be 3 times 6 is 18,000. Holy cow, don't let 18,000 slip through your fingers because you let them sign in and then you couldn't read it. Fair enough?
Unless you're Abraham and you can't spell, so.
What was that, Abraham?
Unless you're Abraham and you can't spell.
That's why you have them spell it for you, Abraham. Okay, next question. This is a harmless question. Are you in the market to buy a home? Why do you ask that question?
They could be a neighbor.
They could be a neighbor.
Be a seller.
They could be a seller. Excellent, Kelly. They could be a seller.
A seller.
And they maybe just, well, we just love to look at houses and want to see how it was decorated. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, we just wanted to see how it was decorated. We're so glad you came by. Neighbors, we love it when you come by because now you can tell all your friends about this house. Welcome these neighbors. Get their name and phone number as well. They are prospects for you. They are people that will refer people to you.
Also, we're always looking for good feedback for our sellers.
And we're always looking for good feedback for our sellers. I had the coolest thing happen up in Prominence Point a year ago, about a year and a half ago. We put on the market a hard-to-sell Prominence Point home. We sold the home to the clients, and then not too long thereafter, they wanted to sell it, and it was a home it was a fishbowl house. It was the house that everybody could see clear through the windows when you drove up into Prominence Point. Really hard one to sell, but every time we did an open house there, I did all my homework, I did a market analysis, I knew the market. And one day a neighbor came in, and they were not in the market to buy or sell a home, but they had friends that wanted to live in Providence. And I had done my homework, I had a market analysis for Providence, I knew every home for sale, I knew what they were selling for. I had my iPad with me, I was able to even, they were asking about lots up in Providence, and I was able to answer a lot of these questions. And time went by, and about 3 months later, they referred friends to me, and we sold them a $700,000 home in another high-end neighborhood. I can't remember where it was. And what they told those friends of theirs was, wow, Kathy is the prominence point expert. You need to work with Kathy. I'm not the prominence point expert, but I had information, and I didn't say I wasn't. So the point is, be prepared, and the most amazing things happen to you. And I mean, it's amazing, really. So never do an open house without being 1,000% prepared. And don't let one good prospect slip away because you might have been kissing 18,000 or more or less goodbye. Okay, next question. So you might say, or are you in the market to sell a home? Thank you for coming to my open house. Please look around and I'll get you logged in. I'm here to answer questions. And you're not in the market to buy a home, but are you possibly in the market to sell a home? So if the answer is, well, we might be. Aren't they going to be impressed with the way you're working that open house already? And can't you imagine they would want you to be their listing realtor and be doing all the things you're doing to get their home sold? Another reason to have a market analysis about the neighborhood. Oh, you're interested in selling, and I can't tell you how many times I've had to do this or I've done this. I have a market analysis. I've printed things out so I can hand them out. You're a prospective seller. Let me give you this information about this neighborhood today. You can see, tell me where your home might fit in. Please take that with you. And of course, my name is all over it. I even have a little handwritten message that says, please call me about any of these houses. That's on all of my handouts. So, next question. Now, let's stop for a minute. Think about all the open houses you've done and the people that came through these open houses. Have you offended anybody so far through number 7? Nobody has been offended yet. You're just being helpful. It's like going to Nordstrom and you want to buy something, and all the Nordstrom staff people are talking to each other, talking in cute little circles or on their cell phone. And nobody steps forward to help you, but the one person who does is the only one left. So you've got to be there to be helpful to these people. So you're in the market to buy a home. That's great. How soon do you want to own your next home? Important question. Well, we're not in a hurry, maybe in 6 months. That'll be fine. So next question. If you find just the right home, will you be paying cash or creating a new loan? My favorite line. People say to me, realtors say to me, well, I feel so uncomfortable asking them if they met with a mortgage loan originator yet. I feel so uncomfortable asking them what price range they're in. Well, it's so easy just to say, are you going to pay cash or create a new loan? And that opens that door. They're probably flattered, and they're going to say, oh, either they're going to say they're paying cash. Try not to faint when they say that. Try to be cool. If they say, well, oh yeah, we'll be creating a new loan. The next question is, which lender are you working with for your new loan? I don't ask them if they are working with a lender. I take the assumptive approach and I say, which lender are you working with? Another way of helping them understand that if they haven't picked a lender yet, they're way behind the curve.
Important to know that kind of eliminates their ability to say no.
Good point, yeah. Rather than, and Billy, that's a very good point. Try never to ask a question that people can say no to. We are in the yes business. The more yeses we get, the quicker we're going to get a paycheck. So which lender are you working with? Oh, well, we haven't even started that process yet. And of course, we all have our open house kits, hopefully, or at least Home State has given us our good faith estimates, and we can show them the good faith estimate. Well, in this home, this is what your mortgage payment would be. These are the lenders with Home State Mortgage. We particularly like to work, in this case, with Kelly Braywonder. Would you like us to get Kelly on the phone today and maybe set up an appointment so we can learn your what, anybody? Buying power. Not what you can buy, not what you're worth, not anything but buying power. Doesn't that sound like a positive thing to say? Buying power. So we can learn your buying power. Next question. Have you already looked at a lot of it? So where am I going now? These are warm prospects. They're in the market to buy a home. They are willing to let us get Kelly on the phone. They're willing to help was helping get their buying power solidified. But what we really don't know is what.
Can
What's
they
the
even work
very
with you?
big question? What's that, Bill?
Can they even work with you? Are they working with anybody
There
already?
you go. Maybe they're working with another realtor. Maybe they're working with a Jack White realtor. If they're working with a Jack White realtor, trust me, we back off. If they're working with a realtor with another company, and particularly if we know that realtor is probably not going to be doing the kind of job we would do, then we might try to capture that person. So the question, have you already looked at a lot of eligible homes, opens the door to determine if indeed they may be working with a different realtor. Yeah, so here's the answer. Well, we've looked at a lot of houses. Are you working with a realtor then to show you those houses? Yeah, and we just can't seem to find one we like. Well, have you put any offers on any houses? Well, yeah, we've put offers on houses and we've just never been successful. How is that possible that you've seen all those houses and you've had offers tendered? What's the problem? Well, and I hear this so often, our realtor keeps telling us to make these really low offers and we just never get the house we want. Has anybody else heard that besides me? My realtor keeps telling me to make these, well, why? So are you committed to this realtor? If it's a Jack White realtor, I'm gone. Are you committed to this realtor? Well, no, not really. In fact, we're not very happy with our realtor. Have you signed a buyer representation agreement with your realtor? No, I don't. No, I haven't. I mean, how many people besides hopefully us at Jack White are getting buyer rep agreements signed? I don't know of anybody. How many at this table, fess up, are getting buyer rep agreements signed? Raise your hand super high. Why is it just my team?
I was talking to a new licensee over at KW, and they didn't even know what a buyer rep was. They didn't even know they existed. They didn't even know you could do that.
So would you agree that anybody with another company that hasn't signed a buyer rep agreement is fair game?
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask questions why nobody else is getting these things signed? Don't tell me because you're a nice guy and you don't want to, if they don't want to work with you, then I don't want to work with them. Why are we not getting these signed?
I know because they're all referrals. They're from past clients. I called up the client and they said, well, yeah, I know you've been doing a great job. I don't ever feel the need for that. The one time I've tried to really push it, I was like, she said, absolutely not, but she did buy a house from me. Okay. So
It's not a matter of pushing, Vivian, and I'm not being critical because you do very good work. Carla does very good work.
The rest of you stink.
Yeah. The buyer representation agreement
Especially
is
Aaron,
part
even
of the
though
buyer
he's-
interview process. You're gonna get an AREC signed. We simultaneously oftentimes get the neutral licensee document signed. The buyer representation is part of the process of the buyer interview, and it's so not hard. Probably the most difficult people to get signed is an attorney, because attorney doesn't need us, right? Okay, if an attorney doesn't want to sign it, I'm cool with that. And if you don't ask them to sign it, they're not going to sign it. They won't even know about it. Like obviously Keller Williams, they don't even know what it is. But a buyer representation agreement protects your commission. It protects you when another realtor, a KW realtor tries to step in and grab your buyer. It happens all the time. Anyway, I'm not going to preach anymore about that, but if you want to know how to get them signed, we can do a class on that.
I'm going to point out that you missed a question on there, Kathy.
Oh, thanks. Which one?
Where's your realtor today?
Exactly. And I've done this before. So, oh yeah, we're working with so-and-so. Yeah. Okay, good. Where's your realtor today? You're in an open house. They're all looking at houses. Where is your realtor today? Thank you, Billy. And I've asked that question.
Go.
Oh, that's great. Where's your realtor today? And of course, we always ask who the realtor is. If they don't know who their realtor is, what does that tell us?
They're probably definitely capturable.
They're capturable. They don't know who their realtor is. They probably aren't committed to their realtor.
Relationship going.
What was that?
We don't have much of a relationship going.
I would agree. Okay, number 13, did you happen to notice, okay, important. You're not gonna like every open house you sit in, and you may have difficulty finding anything about the home you like at all. But in order to help you and that home be a little bit more memorable, at least think of one thing about the house that you think is special. By the way, folks, I know you've looked around and we've had a nice conversation here. I just want to make sure, did you happen to notice that beautiful ceiling fan in the master bedroom? Now, why do you do that? You do that because they will think about that later. It may not be the house they want, but they'll think about that ceiling fan, and more important, they're going to remember you. Oh, that's right, that's the lady that asked us about the ceiling fan. It's just one thing you could do to make yourself stand out among the other 7 realtors they met at 7 other open houses, who might be pretty good realtors and maybe trying to capture them. If you can just find one thing about the house that you can say, by the way, I know you weren't crazy about the house, but did you happen to notice that ceiling fan?
What about the flip of that? Let's say you're in this great house, great layout, that they failed to replace the robin blue egg toilet. You could maybe ask them, what would you replace it with?
I love it, yes. Anything, that's great. Anything to create a little bit of a further dialogue with them so they don't just come and go. And it's something that they'll remember, and they'll remember you. And that's what we're after here. So number 14, I understand that you're not working with a preferred realtor, and further understand that you are looking for a 4-bedroom home and that the home you're in with me today is a 3-bedroom home. May I ask you just one more question anyway?
No.
No? Okay, well, I want to thank you for coming by. Is there any particular reason why you didn't want to answer just one more question, Amanda?
I don't like your lipstick.
Oh. And I don't like yours either, Amanda. But still, Amanda, would you like to buy this home today?
Yes.
That was a setup. She gets paid extra for that. Okay, we're going to turn this over because we're not going to finish with that. We're going to go back to our package and go through some rules. So the rules, these are some rules when I have new people on my team, they get these rules in their open house kits ad nauseum until they can recite them. So go to tips for your successful open house. You have it?
Where's that?
There's more.
You got it.
You got it.
Tips for your successful open house. And then we're going to get back to the dialogue. Okay, goals. Number 1, always call the listing. Oh yeah, I've had this happen before. Sometimes we do other people's open houses and we don't have this problem anymore, but there was some crazy people that used to work at Jack White. And they would say, hey Kathy, would you do an open house for me this coming weekend? You bet I will. And I'd go to the house on Saturday and the seller didn't even know we were doing an open house.
Oh,
So I learned, it took me one time to learn. And so if you're doing open houses for other licensees, usually on Friday we call that licensee and make sure, and for new people without listings, maybe you're going to want to do other open houses, make sure you check with the listing licensee to make sure it's still available, the home. And number 2, that they in fact inform the owner and that the home will be in showing condition. Okay, number 2, your goal is to attract as many prospects as possible for a face-to-face meeting with you looking for buyers and sellers. Goal 3, get the names and telephone numbers of all prospects you can call them later. Now this is an old document. Email is wonderful as well. 4, sell the property you are in if at all possible. There's nothing that says you can't actually try to sell the home you're in. If Amanda had asked a lot of the questions that she should have asked, then maybe it was time to say, and by the way, what did you think of that lower level that's completely unfinished? You can turn that into anything you want to turn it into. After she'd ask all the other non-threatening questions. Number 5, if prospects don't want to buy the home you are in, make an appointment for them to come to the office so you can interview them and show them other suitable homes. You know that we are great believers in the interview at the office process. That's where we get buyer rep agreement signed. That's where we bond with that client. We interview us, we interview them. So don't take that lightly. That's a wonderful way to not have buyers slip through your fingers. Number 6, ask each prospect how they found you. We've talked about that. Number 7, before spending too much time with a prospect, determine if they have a commitment to another licensee. Those are your goals. These are the rules. Number 1, get to know the property you're in, know its features, price, and the competition. Sometimes the owner or builder, this is so important. Sometimes the owner or builder will come to your open house pretending to be a prospect. You better know the product. Know the house you're in. If you're doing a builder open house or another like a listing licensee, and the builder open house, do not be talking about the other builders' houses in the subdivision. There have been listing licensees that have been fired by their builders when that happens. So new construction is a little bit different. If you are in new construction, know the other homes that the builder is selling and prices and the completion dates. You don't need to be talking about the other builders' houses, but know the builders' houses are in completion dates. Number 3, put out a lot of open house signs. Double up, you can't have too many. If it takes 3 signs to get people there, put 6 signs out. Why do you put a lot of signs out? It looks like parties. It looks like a party. A couple of signs look like you're tired and you wish you weren't there and oh my God, I gotta do another open house. 2 signs, when you could put 6 signs out, it makes a huge difference. It'll increase your traffic. Be respectful of the home, of course, remove your shoes, don't eat in the home. No cooking smells in the home. Turn on all the lights in the home at the start of the open house and open all window coverings for maximum light. Remove all the flyers from the flyer box. So the prospects are forced to meet with you face-to-face inside the home. So pull all the flyers out. And then, of course, put all the flyers back. Now, if you have flyers with your face on it, and it's Carla's listing, it's okay to have those flyers handed out to people because you're there. But when it's time to leave, take your flyers and put them behind Carla's leftover flyers and put them back in the flyer box. So don't upstage Carla. Put your flyers behind Carla's because she'd rather have your flyers there than none. Right? Okay.
I actually have one realtor in our office actually told me the opposite, and I was shocked. Well, it was Bill Bevelin, I will have to say, because he knew the client really, really well and didn't want to be the one. He would refer it out if there was a buyer.
So he wanted
my flyers in the
In
front.
the front.
so the flyers
Because I was doing his open house, so afterwards, since I know the house, he wanted my flyers in the front.
It is unusual.
But he knew he didn't want to represent
Okay.
the seller and then have a specific exempt to it.
Right. Bill
I
Bevelin.
wanted that separation for sure on that one.
Okay.
So it might be a question to ask
But I do that too.
the licensee.
I, like Abraham did it, but I told him when he got through during the open house. But I also did the same thing. I went to the open house early and to go through with him so he knew everything about the house. But then later, because then I tell my people to go ahead because I'd rather it be somebody from Jack White sell it.
Good.
If I know this in licensee.
Don't worry, guys, I got you all. From now on, I'm gonna make a bunch of flyers from each one of your listings.
There's probably better things you could do with your time. Okay, let's see. Number 7, display information concerning the property in an appealing fashion, not helter-skelter. I had a young lady that used to be on my team many, many years ago, and she was a pretty good salesman. She was a lot of fun, funny lady, but she was a mess. And I remember going to an open house that she was doing for us, and I walked in, and it's like she took her big briefcase and just dumped everything on the table. And that was her presentation, and that didn't work. So anyway, it's like owning a storefront. You set things up, make it look very professional. I typically will have flyer stands that will have information about us, the team, and other things, so that we're not just selling the house we're in, but we're also selling who we are. And I've sold houses that way. I've had people come call me and say, you're the only one that handed me any information about yourself, a brand new home buyers. Basically, they said we're scared to death, and other realtors gave us a business card, but you told us about you and your team. So build something about yourself and leave them with the, hand them out to people. That's okay. That's what you should be doing. Remember, that's $18,000 you're going to leave on the table if you don't do these things. Okay, let's see. Number 8, treat every prospect as if they are a real buyer because they just might turn into one. Doesn't matter what they look like or what they're driving. You ask them all the same questions. You ask them if they're paying cash or premium loan, even if they don't look like even if they look homeless, you never know. In fact, Billy and I have actually interviewed homeless people before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Nothing ever came of it, but it was interesting. We didn't realize they were homeless at the time. I don't think Gentleman knew he was homeless, but he was.
But he had an investor.
That's true. Thank you, Bill, for reminding me of that. Okay, let's see. Number 9, give every prospect the agency document, which now, of course, is the AREC, and that's in that little kit you're going to give them. Number 10, never leave your open house kit. Never leave your open house kit at the property. Never leave your personal stuff at the property. Because the homeowner doesn't care about you. They don't want to think that you're selling, that you're promoting yourself at these open houses rather than their home. Don't leave anything there except the flyer about their house and their disclosure packages.
Where do you stand on good faith estimates?
I'm sorry?
Where do you leave the good faith estimates?
I definitely leave the good faith estimates there, and I'm glad you brought that up, because if you're doing open houses, more than one of these listings, you're gonna see older good faith estimates there. What's wrong with leaving older ones there, Kelly? Everything's changed. Yep. The rates are changed, so get rid of all the old good faith and leave the most current one there, plus them. Thank you, Carl. Let's see. Okay, number 12, leave the home in such a condition that the seller won't be able to tell you we're ever there. Turn off all the lights, lock all the doors, close the window treatments that were closed when you arrived. And what we try to do too, and I've gotten a little lax on this, I'm going to get back into practice. It's nice, it's a nice touch to leave a thank you note for the sellers. If I'm doing an open house for Carla, and I just leave a nice note to the sellers, thank you so much for allowing me to be in your home today. I'll give Carla feedback about the open house. Thank you so much. Your home was very presentable today, and Carla will know how the open house went. If it's Carla's seller, I'm not going to try to interface with them. That's not right. But Carla will know how things went. If it's our listing, and we leave a note for our sellers, it helps. These people have sweated blood and tears and everything else to try to make that house look good. So those are the rules. Okay, let's jump back to the coup de grace, number 15. We're back to it's showtime, the successful open house. Let's go to number 14. Number 14, now, okay, so what's happened? Give me some feedback. Erin, tell me what's happened. That we did everything right at this open house. Where are we with these buyer prospects? They're still there, you're still visiting with them. What's going on?
You understand that they don't have a realtor.
Okay, thank you.
You know what type of property they're looking for, hopefully in the time frame that they're looking for it.
Thank you.
So it's kind of just a matter of asking for their business, either for the sale of the home you're in, if they want to put an offer on it, or if you can show them more, set up an interview, ask to be their realtor.
Perfect. So let's read number 14. I understand that you are not working with a preferred realtor. And I further understand that you're looking for a 4-bedroom home and that the home you're in with me today is a 3-bedroom home. Now I ask you just one more question anyway. Amanda said no.
I'll say this
And then
this
we went to the mat over lipstick. Okay, so Amanda, may I ask you just one more question?
Yeah, of course.
And this is my comment to you all. The following question separates the successful realtors from the wannabe realtors. Amanda, would you want to put an offer on this home anyway? I know it's a 3-bedroom home and you want a 4, but would you consider putting an offer on this home today?
I would. That 3rd bedroom is so huge. I think both of my little boys could fit in it. And I just love the layout.
And you're not working with a realtor?
No, they're scary.
All right.
You're not.
And no, I'm told otherwise, but you're right. I am not scary at all. So Amanda, I can meet you back in my office this afternoon at 5, and I know you're working with Kelly Graywonder at Home State Mortgage. And bring your checkbook and we'll start an offer on this home today.
Okay.
That was easy, wasn't it? What's the point of my story though? The point of my story is if you don't ask them to buy, they're never going to say they will. No one, I've never met anybody that begged me to write an offer on a house for them, ever, after 42 years. But when you ask the question, no matter what the answer is, even if the answer is, are you kidding? No. The point is, you ask the question. So the rest of the story is magic happens, fireworks go off, you become unforgettable. You will become unforgettable. You will no longer be part of the unwashed masses of realtors. You will be unforgettable because you had the guts to ask them to buy a property. And they really do want to buy, they're just scared. The prospect admires your tenacity and your ability to get the ball over the goal line, and more often than not, you become their preferred realtor of choice. In Trenches, about 6 months to a year ago, there was a young man who was working with his mother, selling real estate, trying to sell real estate. She's a top producer now, and she did a lot better when her son finally went and got another job. But nevertheless, I challenged him, we had this conversation about asking people, he was doing open house all the time, and there was I challenged him not to come back to trenches if he had not asked everybody at the open house to buy the home. And he was just young enough and fearless enough that he actually took the challenge, and he got to where he was starting to ask everybody to buy the home, whether they like the home or not. Like, we can't stand the orange shag carpet. I know you don't like orange shag carpet. Repeat what they don't like. But would you want to put an offer on this home today anyway? He ended up actually capturing clients with it. And he was young. I mean, like Amanda, he was young, and you would not necessarily feel you want to trust your business to him. But if he had the nerve to ask that question, they thought he had the nerve to do whatever else was going to be required to be successful, helping them find the right house. And he could start capturing clients because he was willing to do that. And it's not easy to do. It would be very hard to ask those really unpleasant people if they wanted to buy the home. I understand that.
I wish I
You
knew.
almost forget to ask. You almost forget to ask. That's why on my open house sheet, it says buy. That's not for them, that's for us. Did we ask them to buy the house? Yes or no? That's what that's about. Any questions about that?
So the question I thought you were going to ask is to be their realtor, if you could interview for the job of being their realtor. Is that in there somewhere?
Yes.
If they say no, they don't want to buy the house, then do you say, well, I'd like to apply for the job as your realtor? Or how would you phrase it?
Well, timing is everything, and number one, we have to make sure they're in the market to buy a home.
Right.
Okay. Here's a perfect example of when that would work, Terry. So they've got, well, we've been working with such and such a realtor, we haven't been successful buying a home. We don't know why the realtor keeps telling us to make these little offers. May I ask you a question? Terry, would you consider maybe changing realtors and letting me interview for the job to be your realtor? And let me show you how we work. I'd like to sit down with you for a couple of hours. I want you to tell me what your buying needs are. There's a buyer kit we want to walk you through so you know all there is to know about buying a home. We want to talk about the inspection process, the appraisal process. And there's going to be a strategy, Terry, to make sure that you're successful buying the next house you want to buy. Would you be interested in letting us work with you in that fashion?
Yes, I would. You sound very professional.
Thank you. Okay, so yes, there's a good time for that question. Yeah, we want it, but I mean, everything, obviously. You've got to, it's almost like a game of chess or a game of checkers, if you want. You always need to know what your next move is going to be. You always need to know the answer to the question before you even ask the question. So you set it up. So like Billy said, you never want to know answer to any question.
Wouldn't that go along with having your homework done and having the other homes in the neighborhood? Or
Yes.
other homes in that price range?
Take a market analysis with you about the neighborhood, so you can show what's sold in the neighborhood, what's for sale in the neighborhood. I know you don't like this 3-bedroom home, but if you look here, in this neighborhood, there's 2 4-bedroom homes for sale. I could show those to you tonight at 6. Would that work? That's another reason, a good reason to be prepared.
And then they someday.
And then you sign a neighborhood, okay? And I'm sorry, you're gonna need to sign this document so I don't lose my real estate license in order to show you this other home. And if for this home only, I'll be representing you in the home I'm in today. If it's my listing, I can assist you. Let's go around the room really quickly and tell me, everybody, just tell me one thing you learned that you didn't know before starting your committee.
To warm them up. Well, and I already knew that, but I need
A refresher course. We all need a refresher course. Yeah, me too, me too. Vivian, what did you learn that you didn't know? Warm them up. What did you learn, Vivian?
I used to do the market analysis all the time, and I haven't done it in years. So I think that's one of the things I would incorporate. And I wanted to ask the question, I'm doing 2 open houses on Saturday.
Ouch.
Yeah, but they're just because they're 2 houses.
Oh, you mean at the same time?
Oh, okay.
Does that count? Because I'm having 2 of them?
Yeah,
I would say yes.
Mish Peterson's a new construction, so I just wanted to ask
I
the
think,
question.
go for it, yeah, yeah. She wants to win. She wants to win, doesn't she? Okay, so you're gonna go back
Watch
to
out.
analysis, and you know what, Vivian, I'm not talking about the full-blown 35-page one. We just do a quick one-line printout, 7%.
Oh, right.
Just quick, but then you can hand it out.
Okay.
What did you learn, newcomer?
I don't know.
What's the one that really stands out?
That you should ask the question every time.
I really, in fact, I really would like you all to come back to trenches next week if you did an open house and tell me how that went. when you ask people to buy. Can we all do that? Committed.
No, of course you can.
Okay. Yeah. Carla, she has more experience than I do, Carla. What'd you learn?
Wouldn't necessarily say that. Just need to remember more to ask that question, even if it's in a roundabout way about, do you want to buy the house, just to bring it back to that step. This last weekend, everyone I talked to was represented. I did 2 separate houses on opposite sides of the town, and nobody was even hint of a prospect or even be able to buy the house. So it was really
But even if you
interesting weekend.
But even if you were to ask the question, no harm done.
What was really interesting is most of them gave the information way before I could ask any of those kinds of questions. It's just like they were just a very talkative people.
Oh my God.
And they had, a lot of them had realtor already?
Oh yeah, they all did.
So did you ask the question, where is your realtor today?
With
that question.
Yeah.
With the conversation they gave me, it was, I already knew. I didn't have, that's the thing I'm saying, I didn't have to ask half these questions, it was already given to me. So it was really interesting, I couldn't even,
In that case,
they were all happy with who they were with.
yeah, I have a
They couldn't afford the house.
Questions that I might ask in that case, can I be expecting an offer from you today?
Yeah.
We'll have you hearing from your realtor later.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facial expression.
That one works better for the, I mean, I'm thinking through all the conversations, but the 4 I had, that one would have worked.
By asking the question, you take the people who are on the fence into feeling, being brave enough to step over the line and become a real buyer. By asking the question, and you're disallowing them to be on the fence.
That's what was really interesting with each of these. They were all confident buyers. They already had their lending set up. It was just a matter of, one of them, they just stopped in because of the signs. It was $100,000 over their price limit. That's obviously didn't work. It was Shoshana's clients. So, you know, just by starting conversations with them, I don't even have to ask half these questions. Most of these people
Well,
tell me.
that's probably because you were actually asking, I mean, subliminally, somehow you're asking these questions, they're just willing to talk to you. And you're very approachable, Carla.
Thanks.
Terry, what'd you learn you didn't know before?
To be a little more, I don't know if you call it assertive or not.
I think we could call it that.
More. Because usually I'll go, here's the place, I'll tell them about that, I'll hand them a brochure. I'll say, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Here's my card. I always ask them if they're working with a realtor. But obviously, I've got one buyer, one prospective buyer, I say, in all the times I've done open houses. So I'm obviously doing something wrong.
Well, and I don't like to ask that question, are you working with a realtor, actually too soon? Because smart buyers will say yes, and then they shut you down.
Right.
I want to learn a lot more about them.
Yeah.
I want to learn a lot about them, i.e. we looked at a lot of houses before I even ask that question, to even find out if they're a real buyer. So I wouldn't ask too soon because it's an easy cop out. Oh, yeah, we are, okay. That's another reason why when you do ask who they're working with.
A good question I ask is after I start a little bit of conversation, you know, obviously you've already asked, you know, what brings you out today?
Yeah, good.
That
Very good
opens the door for like at least 5 of those questions
Yeah.
for them to just spill out. So,
That's
Learn a lot.
my key question right there.
mhm.
I go like, hey, welcome in, and, watching from everything, and then, let them speak for a minute, and then I go, hey, how long you guys been shopping? And that's it, they
spill.
spit it out.
Karen, what'd you learn?
Don't have them sign in.
Yes.
And sign them in. I actually took a CRS class before coming here, and it said like their ratios, their conversion ratios, like the top 5 or the top 3 was open house. And it says that 15 people through open house converts one buyer, a successful buyer to close, and I'm like, I'm doing something wrong. So I'm like, and it's totally that. I'm not asking the right questions. I'm just expecting people to.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Do-
can't expect these
yeah.
people to do, they're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
You gotta just kind of draw it out of them. And with these kind of questions, they like you, they're not threatening questions.
Mhm.
Most of the answers are positive answers. But it separates you from everybody else that just sits in an open house and crosses their fingers and hopes somebody will buy.
Yeah,
And it doesn't
yeah.
happen. Aaron, our poster boy, what? What'd you learn?
I'm with Terry. It's, to be more assertive with the questions, because I understand why we ask these to get the information, like in theory perfectly, but it's being able to apply it in practice where it's like, okay, if I don't have these questions first, then how do I ask this question further down the line? So not knowing the priority of the questions to ask to get the information can leave you less confident,
effective,
less
yeah.
confident, and therefore less
And you
effective.
want these people to have confidence in you.
Exactly.
They're looking to you to guide them through a $500,000 purchase, and if you don't have the wherewithal to lead up to these questions and get the answers you need to be able to help them, you're forgettable. You're just another wannabe realtor, and that's not what you guys want to be. Terry.
I think a key part of this is to not be afraid of rejection when you're trying to sell yourself.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think in addition to that too, to not fear the rejection is to learn these questions, and just know them inherently. So that way you don't have to ask them in a script way. Because that's my problem. It's like, oh wait, you answered a question I haven't asked yet. Let me go back. But to know these questions, in an organic way and ask them that way, then you're not having to switch between script,
My very first trenches was about prospect calling, and Paul Lambert, he was like, it doesn't ruin my day. A lot of people turn me down. Some people get mad, but it doesn't ruin my day. And so I was like, okay, that helped before I was even licensed. I came to a trenches, and it kind of set me up for, you get put on my thick skin because people are gonna tell me no.
Teresa Block said something to me once that you shouldn't give anyone free rent in your mind. So
Free rent?
free rent in your mind, no one should get free rent in your mind. So if someone is occupying your mind, that's because you're occupying theirs.
You're allowing.
You're allowing it. So if you're gonna think about someone, they should be important enough to where they're thinking about you. Because so if you have a client that's not getting back to you, don't check your breath. It probably has nothing to do with you. It's so don't I don't know.
No, it's not about us.
Yeah.
These people don't even know us, they don't care about us, they care about what they want and need.
And it's hard to realize that sometimes.
I have to say, I think it's harder for super nice people like Carl and Billy to some extent, and Terry and Aaron. It's hard for those people that are very considerate people to be assertive enough to make this work for them. But I submit, and I say this to Carl a lot, the nicest people in the world are the people you of all people should be helping other people with their buying decisions. If you really are a nice person and do the right thing so you can help them, with your position where you can help them. Because you want those people working with Terry and Aaron and Carl and Billy. You want people you like working with you because you know you will take good care of them. You don't know that about the other realtors out there that's just going to lead them down a rosy path and tell them things that aren't believable and they'll make bad buying decisions. So if you really care about people, step up to the plate, ask these questions so you can help them. Abraham, what did you learn you didn't know already?
Well, I don't know much, but
That'll make it easy then.
but I learned, just this whole first question in a way, it's like trying to get a little more information from them because, sometimes a lot of times, I just ask that question and then unfolds and then I follow up with other questions, but maybe it's the wrong approach. Maybe I got some people and just like Terry says, you just got to try different stuff and see what works, see what doesn't work. And if this has obviously worked for you for all this time, maybe I'll try to implement.
Amanda sold a house from an open house. I've sold houses from open houses. How many else Who else has sold houses from open houses? Okay, they do work. They do work. It's better than forecalls.
In fact, that's what I did first.
Yeah, her very first sale was from an open house. Kelly, did you learn anything?
I did.
What you learned? You
I did
didn't?
not realize that if you're doing an open house, that you didn't have to have everybody that came in sign it in.
Right. Nope, we're not obligated because we're not representing anybody at that point. What you learn, Billy?
I really like the question, are there any other homes that I can show you? Stranger coming in, you know, everybody says, oh, we kind of like this one in our neighborhood, and that's a question that I let brush off because I'm getting to the meat and potatoes, but that's the meat and potatoes right there.
What'd you learn, Carl, besides me giving you a bad time as usual?
Nah, there's nothing. I've known that forever. I found that I was assuming the question, "Are you in the market to buy a home?"
Yes.
I said, "You walk in the door, yeah, of course they're in the market to buy a home." But I've just been assuming that everybody, not actually asking the question.
Right.
My bad.
One last thing, we also prepare a handout that we give to warm prospects. We don't, if somebody walks in, they're working with Carla's their realtor, I am not going to give them one of our packages. But when they come in and they're capturable, we put a flyer in a little folder that we put together. And in the folder, build a folder about who you are so that you can hand people something other than just a business card. We've captured people from just this information alone because it's introducing yourself to them. Anything. Jack White is full of stuff that we put in these things. We happen to have some personalized maps and somehow I paid for these. I didn't know I paid for them. They came to me. I don't know what they are, but they're maps. And my name's on them, and that's important. If you're advertising in the books, put a paperclip on your page and stick it in the folder. These people, especially for sellers, they're going to know you're willing to spend money to get houses sold. So we paperclip our pages. This is in the little kit we hand out. You have calendars, leftover calendars for 2017, put them in there. You can put anything in here that makes you different from everybody else. We have a little brochure about the team. We have a little glossy about team members, what each team member's role is. Your buyer prospects really want to know who they're going to be talking to. We also put information, every time we do an open house, we have information about all of our listings in the open house kit. So we cross-reference market all the time. Again, if it was a seller coming into the open house, they're going to be impressed with this. So, build something that you can give people. It doesn't take but a few minutes to have things to hand out to people as well. And that's it, folks. Thank you very much. That's all I've got for today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kelly, what is that? And applause.
Those are
Thank you.
current management companies for all the homeowners.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.